Hello you guys, and welcome back to finally another episode of Mental Health with Megan. So today's episode is going to be talking about burnout and experiencing burnout and how to hopefully help and deal with it. So I am under a tremendous amount of stress, I want to say, in my current living situation because I am paying all my own bills. I'm 21 years old, I work part-time, I am a personal care aide, I make pretty good money, I'm definitely making enough money currently to cover my bills, which is like a breath of fresh air, a relief, but I'm not making enough money to live comfortably, which is fine because I'm 21, I'm young, I'm kind of just starting out on building my life and building my career and my future, but it doesn't feel fine. And I'm under a tremendous amount of stress because I have a very shitty landlord and our property that I rent is under foreclosure because he has not been paying the mortgage, which is very disheartening because it's like I'm paying you rent monthly and you're not upholding your end of the deal in a sense. You're not upholding your responsibilities. So it's very disheartening, and it's like, how could this older, smarter, wealthy man, mind you, do this to a young woman? Like, how does he wake up every day and go about his day and live with himself, knowing in the back of my mind that he is causing stress and something harmful to a young woman? I don't know, but that's the case, and that's my life right now. And I don't know why I'm saying all this. I'm sitting here like smiling, like talking about this, but I guess I'm just kind of excited to film this podcast episode. I haven't filmed a podcast episode in a hot minute. And I'm excited because I just took a leap of faith, and I'm also nervous. So now I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm stressed out, I'm talking about this stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like on overload right now. I'm on overdrive right now. I'm like exploding at the seams with different things. But basically how I want to start this episode is just telling you an experience I've been going through recently, and something that is kind of like part of the stress but also caused by the stress. Maybe not necessarily caused by the stress, but definitely making the stress worse. So let's start at the beginning. So about a year ago, maybe a year and 6 months, a little over a year ago now, I started having problems swallowing food. And at first, I didn't really think much of it. I was like, okay, like that's kind of weird, but like whatever, it'll probably go away on its own, because I was recovering from Lyme disease, coronavirus, and mono. And I was like, okay, like, I was just sick, like very sick. My body's probably just having like a reaction to that, like it'll go away on its own. Well, here we are a year and a half later. Fun fact, it didn't go away on its own. And I had to seek the help of a doctor. So I went to my primary care doctor. She told me to go to an ENT, so I went to the ENT. I got I don't know what they call it, but they put a camera down your nose to like look in your throat. I got that done. I got a swallow study done, and then I got a couple sessions of speech therapy to help to see if that was the issue. So my speech therapist was like, okay, like your throat does feel very tight, like it feels very tense in here. And that can come from literally stress. It can come from stress. It can come from holding back your voice and not saying things you need to say. That's like your throat chakra is also kind of blocked when that happens. So I was like, okay, I'll try this, I'll do a couple sessions, but they kept like changing my time. They were like, oh sorry, the doctor had to go do this, can we change your appointment, blah blah blah. And I got very fed up with that very fast, because like I already had to like carve time out of my work day to do this. So I was like, alright, you know what, forget it. I was like, I'm just gonna stop coming, because I didn't really notice that it was helping significantly anyway. It's like, alright, whatever. The best thing that my speech therapist did for me was she called the GI doctor, and I think originally my appointment was in October, and I had made the appointment literally like 8 months ago. So she got my appointment moved up to August. So finally I get to the GI doctor, tell them my whole history, tell them what's going on, and she puts me on a medicine that's like an acid blocker. Like I think I definitely have a little bit of like indigestion and a little bit of like GERD maybe. So she puts me on that. I start taking that, doesn't help. I stopped taking that because it just wasn't helping. And then I go for an endoscopy the other day. So little fun fact about me, I hate doctors, I hate hospitals. You know, like I think everyone hates hospitals and everyone hates like doctors and being sick and like medical stuff. Because, you know, why would anybody like that? Like nobody's going to the hospital for fun, you know what I mean? But like I have like almost like a fear of these things, like really bad, and I have a really bad anxiety. So I was not excited for this endoscopy. They didn't tell me that I had to fast until after I booked the appointment. So I booked the appointment for 2 p.m. or 2:15 p.m. So I couldn't eat anything or even drink water from midnight until after the test was over the next day. So I was like not happy about that because I was like, oh my god, I woke up in the morning and I was like immediately hungry and I'm like, can't eat anything. I can't even drink water. So I was like starving, which was really frustrating. I get there, my mom had to work, so my boyfriend brought me. He is literally an angel. He's so sweet to drive me and be there for me during something like that. Like, just meant so much to me to have him there. I felt so much less nervous. So my boyfriend brought me. I go, I have the test, you know, they bring me into the room. They explain everything, they change me into my gown, they put my IV in. Well, I guess you can't really see it on camera, but I have a bruise here because for some reason she tried to put it here. First she tried to put it here, she couldn't, then she tried here, couldn't, and then finally put it here. And she didn't even ask me, like they usually ask, like which arm is better, because if you've had an IV before, usually you know, like some arms, usually you have one arm that's better for them to find a vein. Which, like, just by looking at my arms, I can already tell there's multiple veins over here, and there's like one over here. So the nurse was pissing me off a little bit because I hate when they have to poke you over and over. And she's like I was like wincing when she was putting the needle in, and she's like, well, you have tattoos. And I'm like, okay, yes, but like, I'm not necessarily afraid of needles, but that's like different because that's like self-inflicted pain. This is like, and there's like a good outcome. This is like, you're just poking me with a needle, not for a good reason, you know? So I love when doctors like are like, well, you have tattoos. Like, okay, and I still don't like needles. I still don't like getting my blood drawn. I still don't like any of that. So thanks, but I still don't like those things. So then I'm all ready. They bring my boyfriend in to sit with me before they take me into the room. He's sitting there. He's holding my hand. I was like really nervous. I was like about to start hyperventilating, like freaking out. It's a very common test. They do it all the time. It's like one of the tests with like the lowest risk ever. It's like 1 in 1,000 chances of something going wrong. But like when they said that, my boyfriend and I like looked at each other, and he told me later, he was like, I was freaking out when she said that. Like, why would she have to say that? Or they're trying to make you feel better, but really they don't end up making you feel better. Then they make you like overthink everything. But anyways, they did the test. I was fine. I was like terrified when they woke me up from the anesthesia. They put you under like local anesthetic, so they inject it into your IV. So it's not like, they can't put you under general anesthesia because they can't put a tube down your throat because they're putting a camera down your throat. So they bring me into the room. You know, I'm nervous, I'm freaking out, but I'm trying to just stay calm. They're playing music. I'm like, alright, this is okay, everything's fine. They're talking to me, asking me, you know, double checking my name, my date of birth, whatever. I'm like, okay, everything's fine, just trying to keep myself calm. As soon as I went in the room, I was like, okay, please just like knock me out already. So they inject it, and then they put the mask on. You know, like my eyes are starting to close and open and close, and then my eyes finally close, and all I see is like TV static. Like, you know, if you had an old TV and you turn on, it's not on the right channel, it would just be like that static. That's what I saw, and then everything just went black, and I was peacefully sleeping and didn't feel a thing. And then they wake you up right after the test, which was terrifying. So I woke up, I can't even remember if I woke up in the test room or when I was back in my hospital room. I genuinely don't even remember. But I was crying when I woke up. I was crying and panicking when I woke up, and I was not feeling too hot. Like, you know, you just had a foreign object in your body, down your throat, they put it into your stomach and your esophagus. Like, you're gonna feel a little weird. Like, I'm having some really weird pain, like, at the top of my stomach. I'm having, like, a hard time breathing. Like, it felt really weird to breathe, like, not normal. So I'm like, I'm having a hard time breathing, like, is this okay? They're like, yeah, that's fine, like, we just gave you a puff of albuterol, like, you'll be fine. Like, I don't know why. They said my oxygen, like, your oxygen level is 100%, like, you're all good, but I was, like, panicking a little. It felt like it was hard to breathe. I was having this weird pain. I was crying. My boyfriend wasn't in the room yet, because they literally had just brought me back into the room. So then they were like, do you want me to go get your boyfriend? I was like, yeah. So they go get him. As soon as I see his face, I automatically, like, felt a little better. But he came in and I was still crying, and, like, I couldn't stop crying. Like, I just couldn't stop. And I was like, like, before they asked if they could bring my boyfriend back in, I was like, is this normal? Like, why am I crying? Like, nothing hurts. Like, why am I crying? Like, is anesthesia, like, does that make you cry? Because the only other time I've had it is when I had my wisdom teeth out. So, like, obviously I was crying when I woke up because I was terrified and in pain. Like, obviously I was crying, you know, so I had nothing else to compare it to. But they were like, yeah, like, sometimes that can happen. And then the nurse said something to me that, like, really hit home. And the nurse was like, we find that that happens a lot with younger people now because they're just so stressed out, and when you're under that anesthesia, you're, like, in this, like, disruptive state. I think that's the word she used, maybe not, but, like, you're just out and you're just in this, like, state where you're uninterrupted, and then when you get waken up, like, you're scared and the stress comes, like, flooding back pretty much. And then I kind of started crying more after she said that, because I was like, wow, that's really sad. Like, that's really sad that so many young people nowadays are under so much stress, you know? And me, myself, like, I know I'm under so much stress. Like, I know that not every young person is under stress at all, and not every young person is under the amount of stress that I'm under. And not every young person is dealing with the same kind of stress and the same things that I'm dealing with. So that just made me cry more. But that made me really sad. I'm like, fuck, like, this is sad that that's, like, happening to people these days. Like, younger people are just under so much stress that when they wake up from anesthesia, they're hysterically crying. So, like, within, like, 2 minutes, like, I calmed down. My boyfriend was back in the room. I was drinking my apple juice. Like, I was in a little bit of discomfort, but not really, like, pain. And then they sent me out really quick. Like, they were just trying to get me out, like, really quick. Like, they were like, all right, we'll take your blood pressure one last time. Everything looks good. They're ripping my IV out. They're like, all right, you can put your clothes back on. Here's your discharge papers. And that was it. So they were just trying to get me out really quick. Like, I still wasn't fully, like, awake. I feel like I was still, like, super groggy from the anesthesia and still not feeling great, and they just really wanted to get me, like, up and out of that room, because they clearly, it seemed like they needed the room for the next patient. So I was like, whoa, like, moving too fast. So my boyfriend had to, like, check out, like, the parking ticket. So while he was doing that, he was like, sit down, like, you don't look so good. So I sat down, I waited, and we walked out. I felt like they literally should have put me in a wheelchair on the way out because I was still so groggy. I felt like I was about to fall over. But we get in the car. My boyfriend's like, all right, wait here. I'll go get the car. He gets the car. I get in the car. My first thing is I'm like, all right, I want to go to Kilwin's and get a piece of fudge, and then I want to go to Five Guys and get a giant burger and a large fry and a large soda because I was, like, starving. They offered me a snack in the hospital, but I didn't really want to eat, like, right after the test because I felt, like, very, like, uncomfortable in this whole area. Like, there was a lot of discomfort. So then I was like, great, now I'm starving and I don't even want to eat because I feel like crap. But by the time we got to Five Guys and then we brought it home to eat it, by the time we actually ate, I was, like, starving and I was, like, ready to eat. It was a little bit, like, painful. Like, swallowing definitely felt weird after having that test. I wouldn't really say painful, I guess, but it was just uncomfortable. But I ate that whole burger, and I rarely finish a whole meal. I rarely eat a whole burger. I really am not even a huge fan of burgers, but occasionally a nice greasy burger from Five Guys with those fries, it's like a match made in heaven. Like, that's exactly what I needed in that moment. So I just want to say that I'm really grateful for my boyfriend, and I don't know if he watches a lot of my videos anymore, except the ones I force him to watch with me, like our vacation vlog. So, like, our vacation vlog, so go watch that. Click my profile and go watch our vacation vlogs. I just put the third part up. I just uploaded the last part of that today, so go give that a watch if you want to see some of me and my boyfriend's vacation. But anyways, I tell him all the time, but I just wanted to say, like, doing all this stuff for me, like, going to get, I asked for a piece of fudge and he comes back out with a whole box. I was like, I just wanted a piece, like, you didn't have to do that. And then he goes and gets me food. Like, and he's just so caring. Like, when I got my wisdom teeth out too, I had asked him, I was like, do you want to come like one of those days and like just take care of me for the day? And he did. And like, he's just so caring, and I'm so grateful for him and for everything that he does for me. He makes me feel like so safe and loved, and I feel like you know you're in a good relationship when your friends and family see the difference, and when your friends and family see the difference in you, but also like your relationship, and they're like, I've had so many people tell me like, oh, like I see you're in a relationship, like tell me about him, and then they're like, wow, like he treats you so well, like you deserve this, like you're so deserving of this. Like, I just feel like that's how you know you're in a really good relationship, you know? But yeah, what the nurse said about like younger people and like me knowing like, okay, yeah, that's me, like I fit that criteria, I fit that category, like that really just made me like take a step back, take a breath, and like take a second to think like, wow, like I am really under a tremendous amount of stress and it's affecting me physically, so I need to do something about it. I need to start taking care of myself better. I need to start giving myself more grace. I need to do something. I need to do something because I'm not doing well right now, physically or mentally. So I've kind of realized for a while now that I'm like burnt out. Like before I went on vacation, I was starting to feel like really burnt out, but I was like, okay, like I've got like 2 more weeks left and then I'm going on vacation, like I'm sure that'll help. And it did. It was amazing. We had a wonderful time. It was great to get away from like all the stress of the daily life. But coming back, I was like immediately burnt out. Like the second I went back to work, I was like, and I know it can be hard for everyone coming back from a, you know, a wonderful vacation, going on a cruise, and then going back to work. I know that's hard for everyone. But my job is like emotionally draining. Like I'm a personal care aide. I work with a developmentally disabled boy, and while I do love my job and it's very rewarding a lot of the time, it's also hard. It's also hard. It's the same thing over and over. It's hard to find new activities for me to do with my client. It's just, it can be hard sometimes, and it's very emotionally draining. So I've just been burnt out and stressed out, and my like really like taking it in and realizing that this stress is causing me, or whatever, it's causing my body to have physical reactions to stress. I'm like, okay, this is a problem. Like I need to do something about this. And there might not really be anything I can do about the problems that are causing the stress itself at this very moment, but there are things I can do to better take care of myself, so that's what I'm trying to do. Now, regarding the endoscopy, the doctor wants me to have another test. Yay! And I guess it's like another kind of swallow study. I wasn't really wide awake when she was talking to me because she came to talk to me right after they woke me up from the anesthesia. So I think it was only that one, but there might have also been another test she wanted me to get. Like, I couldn't tell if she was talking about the same test or two different ones, but I know I have to get this test. I don't know what it's called, but she said they basically put a catheter down your nose into your esophagus, and then you take small sips of water. So you have to be awake for this procedure, which I am not happy about. So I'm gonna have to do that soon too. I also have to go for blood work that I just decided to do because I feel like I might be having some kind of hormonal imbalance lately, because I've been extremely fatigued. My period's been late and like all messed up. My hormones are like, I mean, you know, obviously as a woman, your hormones fluctuate. Men run on a 24-hour, you know, a daily cycle. We run on a 28 to 30-day cycle. You know what I mean? So like, obviously as a woman, your hormones fluctuate, but something just feels off. So I'm also going to get blood work done to just check and see if they find anything off there as well. But I know that stress is causing, or at least making, some of these issues worse, you know? So with this digestive issue that I have, the doctor said that basically it seems like my esophagus isn't functioning properly, so they have to figure out why, and then from there they have to figure out a course of treatment, which I'm like fingers crossed, like praying that it's not any kind of surgery or procedure, because I am so done having procedures, like so over it. It's bad, and it has not been fun, and I pretty much throw up every day, and the only thing I can do really to stop it is to not eat, which is not sustainable. You know, I can't not eat. I am a human, I get hungry, and I need food to, you know, give me energy. I can't not eat. As much as I would like that, like, sometimes I think, like, wouldn't it be nice if we just didn't have to eat in order to, like, live and give us energy? Because, like, especially with having this condition, eating is annoying. But also, like, it's expensive, you get cravings, so you want to eat a certain thing. Cooking is a lot of work, cooking is annoying, like, it's just sometimes, like, annoying. Like, I can't be the only one who thinks this. Like, sometimes everyday things are just annoying. They just become annoying. Like, we're humans, we wake up every day, we do the same thing. Like, we sleep, we eat, we drink, we pee, we go to work, we come home, and we follow, like, that same cycle, and it gets annoying. And that's burnout too. Like, that's part of experiencing the burnout, is having the same routine that you do every single day. You know, maybe once a week you go out to dinner on date night, or you do something fun, or you go see a movie, or you have a movie night or whatever, and that's something that's fun to, you know, break you out of your routine and something that you can really enjoy, and then you go back to the same cycle of working and exhaustion and burnout and stress, and it's a lot. It's a lot to handle, and that's why I love having this podcast, because I get to talk about my problems, and I get to kind of ask you guys for advice, but also, like, I'm here for you guys to ask advice from, and that's why I like this podcast. Is it's like, okay, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Like, it's a rant. It's about my life. And for so long, I was like, well, like, I can't start this podcast. I don't have the equipment. I don't have whatever. But I have a camera, and I have my voice, and that's really all I need. And I have a whole list of topics that I want to talk about on this podcast. Literally, probably a list long enough that I could make 2 years worth of episodes out of this list. Like, it's literally insane. Like, it just keeps going and going and going and going. Like, it's crazy. Like, that's just insane to me. I also didn't want to make my podcast too similar to the structure of the book that I'm writing. I kept coming up with all these excuses not to start a podcast. And then when I did start the podcast, for the first, like, month or two, I was, like, really consistent, like, uploading an episode, like, once a week. And then after that, that just stopped happening because life gets in the way. I don't always have time to film. I don't always feel motivated to film and edit. I hate editing, truth be to God, and editing podcasts takes a long time because they're, like, the footage is anywhere from, like, a half an hour to an hour and a half. It's just hard. It's a lot. But what I'm realizing now is that I'm grateful for having this podcast, and if I don't upload every week, if I don't upload on a strict schedule, so be it. You know, like, this podcast isn't bringing me income. It's not my job as of right now. Hopefully someday it is. But as of right now, it's just something that I do as another hobby, and something I do for fun, and something I do to talk about and advocate for mental health and for life's many struggles. So the reason why I wanted to do, like, an episode about burnout today is because I'm burnt out. I'm burnt out, and I feel like I'm hitting a wall and I don't know what to do. And I was seeing my college counselor when I was in college, and she became, like, pretty much my best friend, like my therapist. Like, I literally went to meet with her at her office every single week, and she was pretty much my therapist. And since graduating, I miss her so much. I think having a therapist or just having a person to talk to is so beneficial. Whether it's your boyfriend or your best friend or an actual therapist is great, you know, but I can't afford therapy right now. And I haven't been hanging out with my best friend as much as I used to and as much as I would like to, because we're both living, you know, busy lifestyles. But I miss having that consistent weekly, you know, like, session to get out everything, and to have someone there to listen and then to kind of give me some tips to help. You know, I really do miss having that, but I can't afford therapy right now, and I also do not want to go through the process of trying to find a therapist either. That is always, like, super annoying. So I'm not in therapy right now, and I should be. I feel like everybody should be, honestly. I feel like everybody needs to be in therapy, because it's just so nice to have that person. And I had family members telling me to go to therapy when I was like 15 and 16, and I was like, F you, like, who are you to say that? And I obviously didn't want to go because I was being told to. I was also in therapy when I was a kid, probably like 7 through 10, because my dad passed away when I was little, and my mom thought it would be helpful for me to, you know, deal with that and see a therapist. I don't really remember therapy back then. I don't really think I liked it. I don't really think it was super helpful. I was a kid, you know, like I didn't understand what the point of it was, but being able to like take myself to my college counselor and, you know, make that step on my own to like get help felt very like freeing and very like right. Like I was like, okay, like I'm doing this because I want to do it and because I need the help, not because someone's making me or someone's telling me to. So I'm not in therapy right now, which I think is also hard, and I don't want to say I can't talk to my mom, but it's hard to talk to my mom for me about these things because it usually ends in a fight or ends in a way I don't want it to. So I've just been under, I don't want to cry. I do not want to cry. I'm like tearing up a little bit because I've just been under a tremendous amount of stress for a long time. For what feels like a really long time, and for what feels like an endless amount of time, and it feels like an endless thing. And I feel like having my boyfriend around has kind of healed me in a little bit because I have someone I can always go to talk to, but also I feel like he gets it a little more than some people. But also having people tell you constantly like, it'll get better, it'll get better, it'll get better, and then there are changes and it feels like it starts to get better, but then in the end there's like a similar result and you're like, what now? What now? So that's why, like I was talking about in the beginning of this video, I just kind of took a leap of faith on myself and I signed up for a business consultant. I signed up to work with a business consultant and a business course, if you will. And mind you, I literally have like $300 to my name right now, and 200 something of it is in like my IRA account that I like, that's like to stay there, you know. So like I don't even have $100 to my name and I don't get paid till Friday. So I was kind of like, oh, like the person was like, oh, well, how much could you put down? I was like, oh, like on Friday I could probably do 500. And she's like, okay, well, how about today you do just 100 just so you're locked in? And I was like, I really should have said no because I haven't talked to like anyone about loaning me money yet. And I have someone in mind, but like I'm scared they're gonna say no, or I'm scared that it's not gonna work out. But I said yes. I was like, all right, fuck it, let's just do it. I like text my boyfriend, I'm like, hey, like, can you sell me $100? Like, I'll pay you back Friday. Like, don't ask questions, just do it. And he did, of course, because he's the best. And I signed up for this, and it's a huge leap of faith because I don't even have the money to pay for it right now, and it's an investment. It's a pretty big investment into myself and into my business, but I feel ready. I feel ready to go, and I need something to put all my focus and energy in. Even though owning a business causes stress, it's also where I find my peace, kind of, too. And then, on top of feeling burnout and going through all this stress, it's fall now. It's officially fall. I know it's, like, officially only the first week of fall. It's September 25th, but, like, it feels like it's been fall for, like, this whole month. Like, summer, like, after my summer vacation, that was it. Like, my bathing suits were put away. I didn't do any more swimming. Like, that was it, because the weather was already starting to get chilly. So, like, summer's over, and I've never been good with the transition of the seasons, and I've never been good with change. Like, I have a really hard time with change. And what I'm going through with my apartment and my landlord situation, I know is eventually going to lead to more change. So I've kind of been spiraling about that too. Because I feel like changes are coming that I'm not quite ready for yet. But with the seasons changing, the seasonal depression seems like it's already sliding its way in. It's already creeping up, and I'm like, fuck. Because I know that it comes every year, but I'm never ready for it. You know? And then, like, last year I had a really hard year where I was depressed all summer long, and then the seasonal depression hit on top of that, and I was just like at a really low point, and I was just like, wow. So like thinking back to like last summer where I was depressed all summer and then seasonal depression hit, I'm really glad that that's not happening again. I had a really great summer this summer. It flew by way too fast, and every summer me and my friends are like, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that and we're gonna go to the beach every weekend, and we never do. I literally live on Long Island, okay, so beaches everywhere, and I went to the beach, like the beach, like I had a beach day like once the entire summer. Like I'm so mad at myself for that, but whatever. Again, we just are all living busy lives, and it's hard, you know, it's hard to find the time, and it's hard to find the time when you can all, you know, like it's very rare that we all have a day off together and things like that, so it's hard. And so summer's over and the seasonal depression's creeping in already, and you know, I'm trying to do all the usual things to not have it bother me so much, but it's already bothering me like a lot. Like I feel like I just got hit by a bus and I'm like, what do I do? Like, what do I do now? But I do also want to say that I'm like extremely grateful that I have so many cozy hobbies, as I like to call them, that can keep me occupied throughout the winter and the fall months. I also want to say, like, I almost want to work more during the winter to like save up money to like be able to do more fun things during the summer, but like at the same time, like, are you kidding? Like, you really think I'm gonna work more in the winter? Like, I'm gonna leave my house more often willingly when it's 30 degrees outside? I don't think so. I don't think so. So yeah, I've been trying to just like do my usual side hustles and like DoorDash and stuff to make some extra money, because I've been a little behind on bills, not bad, but I'm also just sick of not having extra money to like have fun with, you know, like, yeah, I can support myself and that's great, and I'm so proud of myself that I'm making a full year's salary, like I'm making a good salary off of my part-time job, you know, but you know, like there's people that have to work 40 plus hours a week to make the amount of money that I make working 30, you know, so I'm super, super grateful for my job, and I'm super grateful for that, and I'm proud of myself for that, but it feels like it's never enough in today's day and age with the inflation and the rising cost of things. It feels like it's never enough, you know. I have a dream to just have a house that I get to call my own and to have a family, and that dream feels more and more out of reach like every day because of the cost of things. Like, my grandparents bought their house for like, I don't even know, like maybe 50,000. Probably that's even like too much. And now houses are like 500,000. Like, mind blowing. Like, it's just scary, you know, it's scary. Thinking about the future is like great and all, and sometimes it's like fun and stuff, but then at the same time it's like I start thinking about the future. I'm like, oh, like I'm gonna have a Galentine's party, or oh, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm thinking about too at the same time, I'm like, I might not even be living here at that time, by that time comes around. My life could be completely different by the time that month comes around. And that's like crazy to think about. That's scary. And that's a lot to take in, but it's true. So I'm trying to just be grateful for what I have and take it day by day and enjoy every day too, and just be grateful for what I have, really. The thought of like moving again just doesn't sit right with me, because the past couple times that I've moved, it wasn't really a choice. It was like I was forced to move, like it had to happen. I don't want that to happen again. Next time I move, I want it to be on my terms. I want it to be like a good thing. I want it to be a decision that I get to make, not something I'm forced into. But unfortunately, that just might not happen for now, and that's okay. But I also feel like getting a boyfriend and being in a pretty serious relationship that feels like it's moving pretty fast, but like we're not gonna make any crazy decisions, you know, we're not moving that fast, but like I feel like it's good because it really has me thinking about my future. You know, like I've started saving more money for my future. I feel more inspired to work harder to give us a good future, you know, and maybe next time I move, we'll be moving in together, because right now we are doing long distance, or like medium distance as I say, because I live in New York and he lives in New Jersey. So it's about 3 or 4 hours of travel by train, and an hour and a half to 3 hours by car, really, depending on traffic. But it's far enough, you know, like a day like today where I'm having like not the best day mentally. I spent my whole morning in bed, forgot I had a business meeting, then I realized, so I jumped on that, did that, now I'm filming this podcast, and it's already like what? It's already like 4 o'clock, so the day's like going by super fast, it feels like. I definitely did need to sleep in today, because I haven't had a day to be home in like a while. Like my last day off, I had to go take care of something, and then I worked on Saturday, I had an event on Sunday, so I haven't had a rot day, as I like to call it, in a minute. So I did need to sleep in today and kind of take things slower and have a slower day, which I definitely did. I made pumpkin cinnamon rolls for breakfast, and I ordered food for lunch. Like, I had a nice relaxing morning, but I also feel like I'm just not being as productive as I want to be and as I should be, because I have so many things I need to get done. But, you know, I'm just trying to give myself grace and take it day by day and just do what I can. Where was I going with this? I feel like I had something else to say. I lost my train of thought. I feel like I've just had so much going on and so many bigger changes happening in my life, and some good, some not so good. Another thing is that, like, I graduated in May. I went to theater for college, and I went to theater for college. I went to college for theater, and I haven't done a show since before I graduated. And that's kind of sad. That's kind of really sad. I almost kind of feel like I'm growing out of that hobby. And that's kind of sad, because for a long time, that was my world, my life. So it's kind of sad too. But then I worked with an event planner, or for her. I worked for an event planner this past weekend doing a big event, and I felt so inspired, and I felt like, okay, now I know. That's what I want to do. So go follow me on Instagram at Gem Events by Megan. I'll link it in the description down below. I'm starting my event planning business journey. That's it. That's what I want. That's what I want to do. And I feel like for the first time ever the other day, I had clarity on that, because I thought my whole life, I thought I was going to be an actress, and I went to school for that, and now I feel like I've kind of grown out of that hobby. I'm not saying that I'm never going to do it again. I still love teaching drama. I still love a lot of things about theater. I still love going to see performances. I'm not saying that I'll never do it again, and maybe it's just a phase, you know, maybe a couple years down the line I'll get back into acting, you know, like, who knows. But that's kind of sad. I've been realizing that lately, that I don't really like it as much as I used to, and that makes me kind of sad. But it's okay. I'm starting to realize, like, it's okay. It's okay. You know, you're getting up, you're maturing, you're changing, things are changing, your life is changing. There's going to be things that you have to let go of sometimes, and even though it's hard and it's sad, it's okay. It's okay. I also feel like, I can't remember like the exact situation, but I know I had something recently where I just had like a moment of like total peace and clarity, where I was like, I got this weird feeling, like realizing like everything is going to be totally okay. Totally okay. And then like I felt a little better just realizing that. And over the years, I feel like I lost touch with God, and I've been trying to get back into my relationship with God and praying and things like that, and that has helped me out tremendously. But I feel like it was almost just a sign from God, like that clarity, that moment where I had that clarity, where I was like, okay, I have to remember God has a plan for me, and everything is going to be okay. And I've always had this thought in the back of my mind. I've always known this. That, like, God has this life waiting for me. It's just not my time yet. I've always known that someday I will have everything I've ever wanted and more. It's waiting for me. It's waiting. So I don't have to worry. I'm getting emotional again. But I used to think when I was a kid, I think I thought this because I had such a hard childhood. I had a great childhood, but at the same time, hard. But I used to think that if you were a kid who had like a bad life or hard life, that when you were an adult, it would go away and everything would be perfect. And then I thought that if you had a great childhood, when you became an adult, your life would go to shit pretty much and be horrible. And now, you know, as an adult, I realize that that's not true. You will have hardships all throughout your life, from the time that you're born to the time that you're dead. And you just have to roll with the punches and take the curveballs, you know? Sorry that this podcast is kind of like all over the place, but I'm just going through a lot at the moment. I feel like I'm going through a lot lately, going through the motions and just going through a lot lately. So, yeah. And, you know, like another thing is like, I would love to, I've been like itching to call out of work. I did end up calling out of work the day after my vacation because we got home really late and we were all way too exhausted to like do anything, you know? So I did call off work that day, which was like a month ago, so it's pretty recent. So I'm like, I know I can't call off work again anytime soon because they need me. And I also had to take off this week for my endoscopy, so I'm not like actually gonna, but I would love to call off work. But I literally can't afford it. You know, I have very limited sick time, which I do have to save for when I actually need it. And I only work 4 days a week. I can't afford to take a day off. I already get 3 days off. But I don't know, I've been having like such an itch to just call off work lately because I feel like I need like a break, but I can't. I just can't right now. So that's been tough too. But I just wanted to say, as per usual, I will have resources in the description down below. So if you are struggling, hopefully maybe you can find a way to help yourself with the resources in my link with the resources in my description. So before we end this, I just wanted to take a second to kind of talk about some things that will help relieve burnout for you guys, for anyone who may be experiencing what I'm experiencing. And it's so weird because lately, like, I went to this networking event on Sunday and it was really inspiring, and this event I worked on Saturday was really inspiring, and then I had a Zoom meeting today that was really inspiring. So there's all these things going on that are inspiring me to work hard and work harder on my business, but then at the same time I feel so drained. Like, I've been coming home from work a lot of days lately and just doing nothing because I'm so tired. And I've been trying to create a better, like, after work routine, but I haven't been doing too hot with it. Like, I'm trying to, like, come home from work, take a little break, then have, like, a power hour where I get some work done, get some cleaning done, go for a walk, make dinner, squeeze in exercise, and then turn off my phone at night and go to bed early. Well, I typically do go to bed, well, I guess not really early, probably around, like, midnight, but you know, I still get like 8 hours of sleep, so it's fine. But I've been trying to make like a better after work schedule, and it just hasn't really been working out the way I want it to. Because I've been feeling tired and a little bit depressed, and I've been feeling lazy, but I know it's not laziness. I know that I just have to like give myself grace during this time, during this stressful time. I mean, it's always been a stressful time the past couple years, but you know what I mean. I was gonna film 2 more videos today, but that is probably not gonna happen after this because I'm about ready for a nap. So it's like this weird combination of feeling very inspired to get stuff done and then having no energy or motivation to get it done at the same time. So that's been tough to deal with too. That's been fun. But here are some ways you can handle burnout from your job and in general. So the first one is look at your options and talk to your boss about concerns. So for me, I can't really do that in my situation, but I don't really need to do that either. The next one is seek support. Ask coworkers, friends, or loved ones for support, which I think everybody should do. Even if you're not burnt out, you need support in this life. Try a relaxing activity. Look for activities that can help with stress. So lucky for me, I have a ton of hobbies like coloring, journaling, writing, building Legos, making bracelets, reading. There are so many things. There are so many different activities you can do to help you decompress. Next is get some exercise, go for a walk, get some fresh air, clear your head, get some sleep, get enough sleep, it's really important, and practice mindfulness. Exercise is like a really powerful antidote to stress, so I definitely need to start getting more exercise in because I haven't been to the gym in a hot minute, and now I got a little home gym going on. I got a little home gym thing kind of going on. I got a walking pad, a stepper, and some little weights, but I haven't really been using it, but that's okay. But comment down below what other ways you guys avoid getting burnt out, and when it happens, what do you do to help yourself feel better? I would love to know. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the podcast, and that's all I have for you guys for today, so I will see you in the next one. I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you're not burnt out, and if you are, I hope you feel better soon. Love you guys. Bye.